Welcome to the Manager Lab, where we delve into the increasingly dynamic world of talent management. In each episode, we will unravel key insights, break down the most relevant books and articles, and provide actionable tips to optimize your approach in developing and retaining top talent. Stay tuned for a deep dive into the art, science, and strategy of unlocking your team's full potential. Let's enter the Manager Lab. Well, welcome back to the lab, where we turn leadership ideas into practical, powerful actions that you can use every single day. And today, we're diving into a fascinating and deeply relevant idea from Harvard Business Review entitled, Leaders Treat Resistance to Change as Valuable Data. Let's be honest, resistance is something every manager faces. You roll out a new initiative, a new system, or you try to go in a new direction. But instead of excitement, you get hesitation or pushback, maybe even silence. And in those moments, it's tempting to label resistance as a problem to fix, or worse, a mindset to eliminate. But what if that instinct is exactly backwards? What if resistance isn't the enemy of progress, but the roadmap to making change actually work? So the article goes into this idea of reframing resistance. The core idea, in fact, of the article is very simple but powerful. Resistance is not obstruction, it's information. When people resist change, they're telling you something. Not always clearly, not always comfortably, but always meaningfully. Resistance often reveals gaps in understanding, concerns about our capabilities, misalignment with values, or maybe even fears about what might be lost. And here's the leadership shift. Instead of asking, how do I overcome resistance? Start asking, what is the resistance trying to teach me? Because great leaders don't bulldoze resistance, they decode it. Now, let's talk about why resistance happens. Let's ground this in some kind of reality here. Most resistance doesn't come from laziness or negativity. It comes from very human concerns. One is loss of control. Will I still be good at my job? The second one is loss of competence. Do I have the skills for this? 3, loss of identity. Does this change who I am here? Does it change my role in any way? And then fourthly, lack of clarity. I don't fully understand what's happening. When leaders ignore these signals, resistance hardens. But when leaders get curious about them, resistance softens and often transforms into engagement. And here's the key takeaway. The leader must make a mindset shift. Resistance is feedback on your change strategy, not a flaw in your people. That's a big mindset shift. It requires humility. It requires curiosity, and it requires the discipline to pause instead of pushing harder. Because the instinct to sell harder or mandate faster is often accompanied by making things worse. But the leaders who step back and ask, help me understand what's not working here, those are the leaders who unlock real momentum. So let's make this real. Here are 3 actionable tools you can start using immediately. Number 1 is the resistance map. Next time you encounter resistance, don't react, map it. Ask yourself, what exactly are people pushing back on? Who is resisting and who isn't? And then what themes are emerging? And then write all of these down and start looking for patterns, because resistance is rarely random. It clusters around specific concerns. Your job is to identify the signal inside the noise. Okay, that's the resistance map. That's tool number 1. Tool number 2, the curiosity conversation. Instead of defending the change, get curious about the reaction. Try this simple framework in one-on-one or team settings. What concerns you most about this change? Or what feels unclear or risky here? What would make this easier to move forward with? And here's the critical part. Listen to really understand, not to respond. When people feel heard, resistance often de-escalates on its own. And even more importantly, you gain insight you would have otherwise missed. Tool number 3, close the loop. This is where many leaders fall short. They gather the input, but they don't act on it visibly. If you want to build trust during change, you must close the loop. That means coming back and saying, here's what we heard, or here's what we're adjusting, or here's what we're keeping and why. Even when you can't change everything, explaining your decisions builds credibility because people don't expect perfection, but they do expect to be taken seriously. And here's how we turn resistance into momentum. The paradox is the teams that push back the most often care the most. Resistance is frequently a sign of engagement, not disengagement. It means people are thinking. It means they're invested. It means they want to get it right. And when you harness that energy instead of shutting it down, you don't just implement change, you co-create it. And co-created change is always more durable. So here's the leadership challenge for you this week. The next time you encounter resistance, pause. And instead of asking, how do I get past this? Ask, what is this trying to show me? And then act on what you learn. Because the truth is, the best leaders aren't the ones who face the least resistance. They're the ones who learn the most from it. Look, change is never just a strategy. It's a human experience. And when you start treating resistance not as a barrier, but as a guide, you move from managing change to truly leading it. Well, thanks for listening. I hope that helps. And until next time we meet in the Manager Lab, do good work.